And so we have breakfast, Lucozade and cake. So the Gregorian calendar has leap years, where we add a day to the year. Apparently, there's only one source from this, and I am kind of mad that I didn't notice before I made my prompt for the new moon-a-thon. Apparently, we do not get a Lunar New Year's Eve for 5 years because of how it works out. That being said, for a reading vlog, I do need the extra time. I am not going to get to the library today because I promise you I am more frazzled than I look. That's why we're starting with sugar. I have one book that I kind of tried for a reading vlog last year and I hated it, and I do not want to have to resort to it again. So we are going to be looking at the libraries I'm a part of, and hopefully they have something. Okay, so nothing from the libraries, just nothing immediately available. I looked through playbooks and Kindle, and I think I found what I want to do. But first, like, a shout out to Peach Flower House, which unfortunately shut down at the end of last year. I think they were the first Dami publisher who were getting the license to translate into English, and so it was a shame to see them go, but I'm not going to read any of those. I have to, but being that they're over 300 and over 400 pages each, I don't trust myself with my current workload to be able to finish them. I'm going to read Fantasy from Asia and the Asian Diaspora, which is a sample of the 5 books they mentioned there: The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water, excuse me, The Gurkha and the Lord of Tuesday, Burning Roses, When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, The Black Tides of Heaven. 3 of those books I have in fact read, and so I will definitely have something to say about it. I'm quite excited for The Gurkha and the Lord of Tuesday because I do have a book by the author. Not this one, but I have been meaning to get to that for a while, and so it would be nice to familiarise myself with their writing. And The Black Tides of Heaven, I do actually have a copy of this. It is in Spanish, which I cannot read, but that's another one that I have been meaning to get to for a while. And then to round out, I'm going to read Red Envelope by Atom Yang. This is a gay short story by, I believe, a gay male author. It's 48 pages. I was interested in this author, and then I think I saw some other descriptions of the work, not necessarily this one, where I was a little bit put off, and so it has been sitting here waiting to be read, but it is also specifically a Lunar New Year story, which is what I was hoping for. But like I said, 48 pages, so we do need to kind of pad out the video a little bit. I don't wanna scrimp on you. Also, just a quick shout out to my lovely earrings, which are the 12 Zodiac. Perfect for the occasion. Apparently I had buried them under a pile of books. Very helpful. But I'm feeling quite, is festive the right word? We'll go with festive.
I'm not sure it is the full-on level love though, because
It calls you stupid as well.
I feel like it needs to like rip you apart as a person, like rip you down. Like it's gotta really.
See, I think we'll disagree. I think this one.
So remember after the Mid-Autumn Festival when I said that I might give this up, like the themed reading vlogs for holidays, because I keep picking shite books? Okay, so there are good elements in it, and I'm just being a bit of a sourpuss, because I can't believe this is happening again. I like the family elements, and I really like that kind of last night that they had. I know people are very hard on like breakups where it's like, oh, you went cold turkey on them, but I love angst, and so I'm very intrigued to see whether this can be pulled back or not. I also like a good grovel, but there's less than 20 pages I think to go, so we shall see.
These molds quite generously and get them into the freezer as soon as I can, because once they're frozen, these spherical halves are going to make one mandarin each, and then they're going to be dipped in jelly. So we've got a lot of.
Here's dramatic sky too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you're ready then, Judy.
Okay. Streamer got stuck.
Your streamer gets started.
Yeah.
Oh, hell spells.
So one of my hopes for the year was to be able to take more care with my appearance, in the vein of like, I have corsets and things, and I love to wear them, but most of the time with chronic fatigue I just end up in like lazy, I call them pajamas, they're not really pajamas, but like loungewear type stuff, and I really wanted to do more hairstyling, especially now that I'm on Red Note and there are lots of like hairstyle tutorials that I actually really like, kinds that you don't really find on Instagram, and so we have made an attempt today. Probably not great, but you gotta start somewhere. Speaking of, I am about to start Fantasy from Asia and the Asian diaspora. Okay, no. I haven't talked to you about Red Envelope, so it's fine. It's fine. It's sweet. I can see why people like it. It personally did a lot of things that I really fucking hate. So it's not for me. And also, like, very literally not for me. This is clearly written for an out group. With lines like, my generation speaks English, but our parents' generations mostly speak Chinese. Yeah, that's a common diaspora experience. You don't need to be so on the nose about it. I just find that style of writing to be kind of condescending. And to be clear, I am also an out group. I'm not a Chinese American, but I do see I have enough of like an understanding, to know where he's coming from. But like, hated it. But worse than that is just structurally, I hated it structurally. We spend this time setting up that he is upset about what happened the year before. Then it shows you what happened the year before. And then they talk about what happened the year before. And then it's an epilogue. And everything is worked. The epilogue comes after the end of the story. It is a place where you can resolve some things, but you cannot resolve the main thing, because this is after the end. If there had just been like one more chapter, just one, where you got to see them like the day after this conversation, he was staying over even, so even if they just got back in the car and had another conversation at the apartment, we could have actually had a resolution, but we didn't, and there was no resolution. It was just happy ending. That doesn't work. That's incompetent. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. So the first one is The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water. This is a beautiful little novella by Zen Cho, whose work I do adore. And I highly, highly recommend The Terracotta Bride as well, which is... it is a lovely little nibble. It is so full of implication and healing. This kind of has the opposite of that. It is a bigger book, and I think her description of it is like the fan fiction of some wuxia series is very apt. I found it enough. I found that I understood the world enough, but some people thought it was a little bit flimsy, and I can't really see that, but I know where they're coming from. The first line of this is, "There was a brief lull in the general chatter when the bandit walked into the coffee house," which I love. So I have never actually watched one of these before. I've seen clips here and there. This is mostly just to have something going on in the background. But hopefully it'll be good. I'm not gonna take a break every like 5 minutes or so to update you on this, but like the mascot is kind of derpy and it's so cute. But also William Chan is here performing, and like I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know what this is. This is fully a me problem, but like I see his face and I get angry. So interesting start to this to the festivities. I think maybe the extra twist was a bad idea because now it's sticking. Oh, mute. I always forget to do that. I forgot how fun this is. I think I'm going to have to actually go back and reread it. There's it's the style is really fun as well. Because it is January, I am having a lot of like my readathon thoughts, and I think, I mean, obviously, the Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water is a fictional religious group, but I think you could probably twist it into Buddhist. The prompt. I forgot how much I liked that. I feel like a lot of fantasy does like, we have this religion and then the protagonist is like one of the few people who is a-religious, and it's like, you did all this world building and we're not getting to enjoy it. But I know it's really nice to have this. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely need to reread it. It is about bandits doing bandit things, but like I said, as in like the fanfiction comparison, it is very character focused and very character driven. I forgot how kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say geopolitical it is, but yeah, it's really interesting and it weaves in its religion really well. Highly recommend, highly recommend, if that was not clear. Also, it's really queer. I know when people talk about like religious books, some people get really put off and wary because, you know, but it is a queer book, so there's that. There are 2 chapters in the sampler. I don't know why I just thought there was 1, but there's 2 here, and 2 for the next one. I'm very happy about that. I absolutely love her. You saved my life, and now I'm going to be a complete menace. She is a delight. But I also think this is a really good sampler, and that if you like these 2 chapters, you're gonna like the book. The second sample is The Gurkha and the Lauder Tuesday by Saadzi Hussain. This is one of the ones I haven't read. I do have another book by this author, I believe, and I think this one is one of the books that I have on my endless TBR. So, intrigued. I don't actually remember what it's about, so we're just going to go in blind because I do prefer that. I will say overall that this is a little bit distracting, having this on in the background. It's good in the sense of like, I want to attune my ear to the language again, which is completely unrelated, a reason why I'm listening to a French audiobook of Alice in Wonderland. We got to the dancing robots, which I had forgotten about. Do you remember a few years ago when people were cooing over like robots because they were like doggies, and everyone who wasn't entirely on board were called killjoys, and then those robot doggies went into war zones as weapons. Deeply uncomfortable, and I'm not. Shoiting C. Ni, who is like an author and has done a lot of like translating Chinese sci-fi and stuff and horror, and does cultural writing. She has a thread on Blue Sky about the thing, and I might just have a look in and see if there's anything interesting going on. But yike. The Gurkha in the Lord of Tuesday opens with this sense of grandeur that I really love, and then just so quickly cuts it off at the knees, which it's a great contrast and really sets up the mood amazingly. And I'm really enjoying this. Firstly, it's an interesting cover. I don't think it's necessarily a great cover. It is a city. It is a very like highly futuristic city, but the blue of the lines and the pale blue of what it's depicting kind of all blur into each other. So it's not really eye-catching. And I would say the same for the sample. I like it. I think it's quite funny. The Lord of Tuesday is a bit of a blowhard. And so I think his indignity is great. But I can also see someone else, even myself, depending on the way it goes, being really annoyed. More annoyed than is worth keeping up with. So it depends. I'm a little more uncertain of that one. I do like the style of writing, but it also ends in a really weird place. The first two chapters are kind of all set up, and so it doesn't really pull you in the same way. And you know what? Maybe the same could be said for The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water, and it's just my own experience of the book itself that makes me like it. But yeah, it's not quite doing it for me. On the other hand, Burning Roses, I can tell you right now, I'm not keen to reread it. It's a good book. I really enjoyed it. It is like a mashup of fairy tales. We have so many retellings these days, but this is a mashup and it does it quite well. But it also, this series started with 2 short stories, maybe 3, and then this novella came out, and it kind of completely undoes the need for the first one. And that is a shame. And I have always been really annoyed at it for that, because I really liked that first one.
Let's hope that enthusiasm lasts for the 3-hour journey south. The captain sticks with Mark and his wife Sylvia, Ambassador Irita's help in downsizing.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be finishing the sampler today, but you can get it for free. You can get all of Tor samplers for free. They want you to they want you to read them and to buy the books. I would really recommend giving them a go, because I really, really loved the ones that I know that I've finished. I know I have my problems with Burning Roses, but it is a good book. I'm just a little bit too tired tonight for this, and I want to start the year off not pushing myself so hard. So unfortunately, this is where I leave you. I hope that the Year of the Snake is good to you, whatever good means to you. Xinyu Kuala. Bye.